Yo, B, let's go.
You may have seen the clip and maybe heard word of mouth, yet another podcast. Man, what could it be about? Is it truth or opinion? A couple of contradictions. We're here to challenge tradition and twist your vision. So we set on a mission to bring you rebel wisdom. Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Wisdom. I'm Julian here with my boy B. And today we're going to be dissecting masculinity and femininity here in the year 2025. I think it's safe to say that society has progressed in a lot of ways. And I won't say it's a hot topic, but when it does come up, it's can be a very polarizing topic, or I feel like it when it does surface, it's like usually pretty big or widely talked about, or you just hear a lot of strong opinions on it. And I just kind of want to see what you think and express some of my thoughts and, see what everybody else listening thinks on the two. And maybe you know, I think we know certain either character traits or items that people carry or use, etc. We tend to like categorize and assign to a certain, like, these are things women typically do, these are things men typically do. And when the opposite does it, it's like, oh my God. But one, I don't think it matters that much. My personal opinion. And two, some of these things, like, I think they have origins that people don't know about that might, like, I don't know, I think might perk some ears up, or it just might make you rethink the association of these, traits or items.
Okay.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
excited to
yeah, yeah.
hear. I haven't heard
So
it yet, so
yeah, yeah. So definitely want to like bring some things up and then, ask some questions as we do, and and just like get into it. With that being said, we like to start it off with just some ways we can relate to the current topic or that it applies to us. So I'm going to ask you a question regarding, femininity and masculinity. Um, and I want to see what you say. Oh, actually, I'll state the question, I'll answer it, and then I'll get your answer. So
okay.
I was going to ask, of character traits that are typically associated with female or femininity, like, what is your most feminine trait? That's what I'm trying to say.
My
What is
feminine?
your most yeah,
Okay.
and I'll give you a second to think, or just maybe not most, but like something that's typically associated with female, because I believe everybody, male or female, like all females. Let me back up. I view masculinity and femininity as a like a spectrum, right? Like, nobody is 100% masculine, nobody's 100% feminine, and it's not, and I think it can like shift. So I think everybody, most males probably lean towards masculine, and however that's defined, and females lean towards feminine. And when, you know, on that spectrum, if you're not leaning towards your assigned, gender at birth or whatever, people tend to get up in arms about it. But I don't know, like, some of these things, I think it doesn't really matter, or again, maybe it was once deemed masculine and switched over time to feminine, or vice versa. So yeah, I view masculinity and femininity. I don't know if there's a one word that encompasses both, like the ninities. I don't know, but the ninities. But I view them I view it as like a spectrum. So um I'm gonna start to answer the question, right? I always say the question, what is your most feminine trait? I don't know if it's my most, but one thing that definitely comes up like immediately when I think of myself is vulnerability. And I think vulnerability is just the willingness to share, or maybe like to your willingness to share personal things, right? And that's not no official definition. That's just what I think vulnerability is. And when I think about like willingness to share and why that's associated with female, like, I'm just gonna use me, right? Anybody that's in my life, I would want them to be vulnerable with me. I don't, like, regardless of your sex. Like, why would I not want to know more about people I care about? Like, I want you to open up to me so I can help you, or you can lean on me, or just so we can share. I think that's how people get to know people on a deeper level, right? So it's like, if you're a guy, like, I would want my guy friends to be vulnerable with me, or in general, sure. But I don't know, does that make sense? Like, why would I
Yeah,
not
yeah,
want
no,
you to
it
share?
makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah, but
just want them to be more open and talk about more meaningful
yeah,
stuff.
just talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. But the question in my head is like, why does society associate that with females? I don't know. I think that's interesting, but I think that's one of my societally stronger female traits. I don't necessarily think it's feminine, um, but yeah, that would be my answer.
Dude, you might, dude. I don't know. I don't know for me. Do you? Yeah, you're pretty. You know me pretty well enough.
Yeah.
Is there something
Okay.
like that comes up right away? I can't think of any. I have been cooking recently a lot. That's
Okay.
traditionally
It
a
is.
task
It
that's,
absolutely is.
identified as like a women's role, which is kind of weird, right? Because like a lot of like top chefs and stuff are guys. Like all the famous chefs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is.
Right. That's
It
a weird
is.
one. It's like domesticated cooking is associated with female,
Okay, right.
but I think
Okay.
statistically, a lot of the at the peak of the craft and like the profession, it's male dominant. So that's very interesting.
Hmm.
Um, that one. But sure, if we did like a word association game and you were like cooking and like cooking, go. What do I immediately think of? I would think of women. But again, doesn't matter. I don't think it has any. I don't think males or females are born with any like internal trait or anything that makes one better at cooking than the other. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
To my knowledge, I don't study anatomy or biology. I don't know if like women or men have like stronger taste buds or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they don't. For you though, I think aside from cooking, and I would say vulnerable because I think you, and I don't know if it's just
Yeah,
me
I didn't want
because
to use it because
I
you said it, but then I do
exactly, I
agree with
don't
it.
want to
Yeah,
use
yeah,
it
yeah.
because yes, but I think you're very vulnerable, very willing to share like pretty personal stuff,
Hmm.
whether it's just to open up or to help somebody. Like I've never really known you to like withhold information, but I don't want to use that one just because I used it. But if another one I would say is just not aggressive. Like I feel like in a lot of ways or even scenarios, men are expected to be aggressive and you're just not like you're not, I don't I see I think well, I mean honestly, much like myself, there would have to be a crazy scenario for me to get in a fight. Like somebody would have
Yeah.
to like harm my parents or my sister or what I'm saying, like I'm not getting in a fight over somebody shoulder shaking me or something like flicking me off the middle finger. Like I don't know if we're both just more diplomatic that way, but that lack of aggression could be associated with more
Yeah,
feminine.
I could see that. Yeah, and I am that way. I don't try to seek out conflict.
Yeah.
And yeah, if I'm in a conflict, I'll stay in the conflict, but I am uncomfortable in that conflict, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like argument at
Yeah.
work,
For
like
sure.
I don't mind arguing at work, but I just rather not be doing that. But then
Right.
I will continue to do that if I need to prove my point.
Right. Right. Valid. And I'm trying to think of aggressiveness outside of fighting. Like I feel like what's other ways to demonstrate aggression? Because like even beyond fighting, I just feel like some people just have aggressive demeanor, like
Hmm.
just walk in a room and if you know what I mean, and just think you're not. And then neither of us honestly are just aggressive. Yeah. So I mean I guess that's another one to kick it
Yeah,
off.
I definitely see myself as like
Um,
a easygoing, relaxed, chill kind of guy.
right, right. And those things you just named, I don't think those are necessarily feminine, easygoing, chill, like relaxed, but particularly like the lack of aggression. Again, if aggressive was a spectrum, I feel like the more aggressive someone is, the more it's associated with masculine. So yeah. All right, cool. I'd be interested to hear like I just feel like there's so many things on this topic that, are highly disputed or it's like what I'm more interested in is why society has associated these things with whatever gender, right? So,
Okay, I want to can we start there? Because I do have some thoughts on
yes,
that. Do you think
yes.
roles are assigned by society, or do you believe that it came as a byproduct of biology?
Depends. I think some things are a proponent of evolution. Uh,
Can you give me a couple examples?
yes, I can. Would you say, I mean, we talked about it in another episode, but to
Mhm.
restate it, like, would you say on average, men are typically stronger and or faster than women?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. They
Okay.
are.
Yes. Okay. So again, not even traditionally, but further back, like historically, I think because of that, we we were the ones doing the more manual task, and to include like hunting, if we go
Mhm.
way back, things of that nature. And you can see some of that in today's workforce. I think a lot of uh again, just going off what my own eyeballs have taken in, I don't know why construction was the first thing to come to my mind, but
Yeah,
like construction, I've absolutely seen women in construction. First off, let's start there. But like, I don't typically see women in construction. Why is that? I don't know, but if we like peel back a couple layers, it might have something to do with like historically men have those more laborious jobs, and it's just that's kind of what it's manifested to today. And there could be some biological things that like support that, i.e., being like stronger, and faster. So that's one.
what are things that like you see? You said biology and socially. What are some social or what are some masculine traits that you see that was a byproduct of society placing a label on that?
Maybe money,
Money, how
like
so?
m- men being the breadwinner. Like,
That's
I wouldn't say it's masculine, but
but it's been like that for the history, all of humanity. It's been like that. I don't think nothing has changed because of societies were formed or even
you're right.
advancing.
That's valid. That's valid. I think it society has kept it in that structure, but it has been like that. I'll agree with that. Um, something, something that shifted because of society.
Yeah, no, you said I know the
Okay, I
original.
got.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Wait, restate the question. I think I do have a couple answers though.
It's like so there are some traits that's tied to. I want to stick to masculinity because like we're both
Okay.
dudes, and I think it's more
Okay.
it's fair,
It's
more
easier. Yeah.
easier, yeah,
Yeah.
fair to talk about that.
Yeah.
So just within the masculinity traits,
Okay.
if it's you have to give an A or B multiple choice answer, is it
Yes.
masculine or feminine? There are
Okay.
certain traits that's placed in the masculine like bucket category, right? And do you think those are because of byproduct of biology or because of society have placed additional labels on them and it's just like a societal norm now?
Got you. Yeah, I think the answer is both, but now I'm trying to think of tangible examples. Something that's masculine because society says it's masculine. So I feel like I can think of a lot for women, but which almost makes it better to talk about masculine because I maybe there's some that are less obvious.
It's fine if you think about it later, we can come back to it. But um, I was I couldn't think of any when I was thinking about that question. So
Mhm.
I think it's when I make a statement, it's not absolute. It's not 100% of the time. And when we talk, when we have these conversations, we're 99 most of the time we're referencing, in majority of cases, this is true, even if we don't say it. If we say men are stronger than women, in majority of the cases, men are stronger than women. So
Right.
I do want to preface with that. So with labeling of traits, characteristics of a man, with biology or from society, I think majority of the traits that we have as men today in our society is because of biology, and I think that's okay. And I also think we kind of know this deep down because not that there was no answers given by you, but it was harder to answer that question,
Yeah, yeah, it
right?
is.
So I think there is a point to that. And I don't
Okay.
the I guess in today's day and age, right? The thing that I'm just having trouble, and I understand both perspectives. I just don't know which way I lean. is that, something has worked for over 2,000, 4,000, 8,000 years, however long humans been alive for, or, on this earth, like
Yeah.
walking around. And only recently, I would say in the last 70 years, this question about masculine, feminine, men versus women, gender roles, like these topics come about. So is
Yeah.
that like is just a fad that we're just kind of living in because we have thousands of years of history that's working, that worked, that led us to today, which is the greatest time to be alive in human history. But there's also a counter side, as societies progress, does it actually get better? Does it actually incorporate these things for the better? And I don't know if it's just getting incorporated to make people feel better or if it's actually fundamentally better for society to think this way. I don't know. But I
When you
don't
say think this, what?
think of
Sorry, go
this
ahead.
way as, gender roles like not being
Mm-hmm.
relevant today, and or not
Got
not
you.
being relevant, but like being devalued almost. I think it's like when we try to place a label into what a man should do, like I feel like there's a lot of backlash, right? And I don't understand the reason for backlash because it has been like that forever. So you know what I mean? You know where I'm coming from?
Yeah. Okay. So you think society is pushing change when you're saying like we don't maybe need to change as much?
Yeah, and you know how, man, I think it was like last episode or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about how is some. Oh, I think it was during the fasting thing. We were talking about how media and government pushed us to eat so many times throughout the day and whatnot. And as technology advances, information gets more available, and we figure out stuff like there's stuff that we didn't know before, right? So that's science. But aside from science, is there a byproduct of technological advancements and maybe not 100% a correlation, but with capitalism, does it bring about additional these like labeling by the media and the government for profit sharing, right? And we said that that was not good, but it was a byproduct of country growing, technology growing, capital, the society growing. So we can say, not everything is going towards in a good way. Not everything is going in the right way. So I don't know where this conversation about arguing about gender roles and whatnot, is that the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do? Does that make sense?
Got you. Yeah. I do think gender roles and femininity versus masculinity are like kind of two different conversations,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some overlap. But I think those are different. But to kind of touch on both, I have a thought that was brought up similar to when we did the more money, more problems
Mm-hmm.
episode. We argue that the phrase is more money, more problems, and we refuted that and kind of said we disagree. Like more money does not equal more problems. And I proposed maybe more money equals different problems,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't necessarily mean more. So if you kind of look at it here, I think it's similar to instead of using money as the subject, it's like advancement or technology. So like the more advancements or technology, we just get a different set of problems, like stuff we didn't have to worry about or think about years ago because there was other problems we were worrying about that as society, we figured that shit out. Like we're past that. So now we have more leisure, more science, more creativity, just more of whatever that's allowing us to dig deeper into certain aspects, certain things that we haven't needed to as a society in the past. You know what I mean? It's allowing us to expand. And if you project that further, like let's say AI starts taking over jobs and AI in general, if it becomes like general intelligence, what that'll start thinking about, and then people are just gonna have more time to think and play with concepts. So we're probably gonna get more stuff that's like we've never seen before that we could argue like, do we need to be doing this? Do we need to be, you know, I think that's how we got here. That's my personal opinion.
Dude, I do want to just say I've never heard of that. But I 120% agree with you. That's actually really, I think you're spot on, dude. Like I think you're 100% correct in what you just said. I just wanted to add that
Yeah,
in there.
appreciate. I
Yeah.
mean, just a theory, but like I mean, to me it makes sense. I don't know. That's why we have the conversations. It just kind of bounce stuff off each other, and it allows me, allows us to kind of think. But I think that's how we got here. Now, with that being said, we can kind of look at some things that may have changed over time in the realm of masculinity, femininity. We were talking about a couple things, and I think one that I've come across a couple of times just in looking at stuff for this podcast is high heels, which I think is interesting. And the only time I really see male association with high heels or is or not the only time I see it, but the first thing that comes to mind is if I think of like a was it like a show, like an old time British show or whatever, where everybody has like the wigs and again, like no matter what gender, everybody has like the very like fluffy gown type things. They have like some type of heels
Oh, yeah,
on.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm talking about like I don't watch Bridgerton, but do you know? Are you familiar with the show? Like
Mm-mm. But
I
I know
think
what you're
okay,
talking about, like the
but you know
where
what I'm talking about, right? Like
the
that
royal
very
class.
maybe like Victorian royal
Yeah, right,
class
like what
type
they would wear.
of
Yeah, yeah,
dress.
yeah.
Like men would wear heels too. I feel like when the founding fathers or whoever was like signing the Declaration of Independence, they were probably all like dressed up like they all probably had heels on, like men of power, like heels were maybe not like the high, super thin heels like the stilettos, but men had heels. And looking into it, heels was a sign like originally made for men, and it was a sign of class in certain cultures. It said like Persian cavalry and then European aristocrats, like they wore heels like first. That's where heels started,
Mm.
which is a very, very feminine categorized thing today. So again, although it's hard to say, and going back to your original question that kind of like sparked the whole conversation, what has society made masculine? And we both kind of struggle to answer. I don't know, but society seems to have made a bunch of things feminine to include heels. Like, and it's like why? Like why? When you really think about it, it's just a shoe, right? Like why? I mean, why would it matter? But I mean, you or I wouldn't wear heels. But it's like why? First off, when I hear they make your feet hurt, so they don't seem comfortable. But
I th-
beyond that,
I think, I mean, we don't. So we don't wear heels. I'll say I don't wear heels for, I would say, two reasons. One is that I'm above average height. So I
okay,
don't like I'm just taller, so I don't need to wear
yeah,
heels. And second is, so it's socially, culturally not accepted for guys to wear heels. So
yeah,
that's the second thing. But I do want to say a lot of guys, I don't want to say a lot. There's definitely a desire for men to wear heels in quotes.
yeah,
We're saying heels, but at the end of the day, it's any sort of apparatus around the foot area that makes you
right,
taller,
right,
right?
right,
So
right, sure,
with that, like people put in like thick soles that make them look taller. There's shoes out there that
sure,
makes
yeah,
men feel taller, and that's because people want to be tall because through biology, through evolution, through survival of the fittest, it's just generally more beneficial to be taller, right? It, like in society today, I would say in majority, if not all first world countries, like given everything equal, like the taller man is going to be more attractive
mm-hmm,
or desired. Like
desirable.
it's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just nature.
Yep. I mean, yeah, that more than answers the question. I mean, I don't wear, and right when there's different types of heels. So I'm talking to mostly the more flashy,
Hmm.
taller stilettos, wedges, whatever. Because you can have like a thick, like low heel that are more like a lot of men's dress shoes have a like technically have a heel, but
Hmm.
I'm talking about the more pronounced heels. And yeah, I mean, I don't wear them, not even because of the tall thing. I don't wear them because honestly, it's not socially acceptable.
Hmm.
And like I said, it probably hurt, so I don't need that. But yeah, and then you look like there was a shift at one time. Dude, heels were even a sign of military prowess at one time. Like, that's crazy. You're
Oh,
like,
really?
it was you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It helped, like, I guess, like, people rode horses. Like, it had some function to, like, help you ride horses, maybe, like, latch your foot in the saddle or whatever.
Oh,
But yeah,
interesting.
like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
had, I
yeah.
think, more practical use and more, like, it was symbolic. And now it's
Less practical.
strictly fashion. It's just
Yeah.
strictly fashion. You know, there's I don't know any. I mean, I don't ride horses. I'm sure there's some like type of grip on your shoe. Maybe there's like or like bike riders have design shoes that like latch into the pedal. But
Mhm.
you know, here's what we're talking about strictly fashion. But that is one thing that only society shifted. So it's like, you know, just what I don't know why the narrative shifted, but and there's multiple things like that too. You have like makeup is another one that's and this one's interesting because for some professions like actors and actresses, like regardless of gender, you know, they'll use makeups to like look a certain way on camera.
Mhm.
But outside of that, I think would you agree that makeup is mostly associated with women?
Yeah.
Yeah. I, and it's like again, used to be for guys and it used to be, you know, there's military there's some like military themes in there too. And this is to include like face paint, like war, like face paint too. But I mean, still, just like putting stuff on your face was
I
started with men.
so I'm just trying to think. It might not be even though the object or the activity of the makeup or heels might still be the
Mhm.
same assigned to different genders now or different roles, but the intent behind those things were different when it originally
Yes,
started.
that too.
So
Yes,
I don't
yes.
necessarily think that it's the society saying, "Hey, it used to be men, now it's women's now." I don't think it's like that. I think it just the original intent of those objects or activity that you were doing,
Things,
it just
whatever.
benefited
Yeah.
those people that was actually using it. And today, in today's day and age, like heels don't really benefit men. So that's why females wear them to make them look taller. So I wouldn't necessarily say I don't we can just say okay, it has shifted and I don't think there's too much meaning behind that. I don't think there was any like
Okay.
behind the scenes pulling strings to make
Yeah,
things
yeah, yeah.
happen. Kind of it just naturally kind of
Yeah.
happen for no reason.
Okay. I think this is good. And I think we're both onto something. So I do think the intent shifted over time, and then the gender it was assigned to shifted over time. But something you said, I think I disagree with because
Mhm.
you said like I do think the intent shifted. So we'll go back to heels was for status, in some senses military prowess or had some practical use, and now mostly fashion. And like you said, to make you taller. But I don't know about you. When I think of what gender desires a partner to be taller, what 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 gender do you think of? Like, do guys typically want taller partners than women, or do women typically want taller partners than men?
Yeah, second, the women wants taller partners for men to be
Right.
taller. Yeah.
When you hear guys talking about girls, they're not like, oh, dude, I'm trying to get this tall. Like, no. But women, it's like, I want to be 6'2", you know, whatever, right? So in that case, why are men wearing heels? We don't care if women are tall.
No, because women do that because um it's not they that's what they think they view themselves as looking good, whether it's true or not. You know, some people may say that looks good. Some people will say that doesn't, right? But like
Okay.
a better example would be uh would you prefer a female that has uh let's say fake breasts or a BBL over a natural?
I would prefer natural.
And so does 90% of men. Overwhelming
Yeah.
majority of men say, "Hey, we rather have a natural body
Right,
for
right, right.
for your partner." But females like they don't somehow believe it or like
Okay.
they
Yeah,
they
right,
want to
right,
look
right.
better for they want to look good in terms of like society's eyes, and society is not just men, it's also
I
women as
feel that.
well. So I think that's why they wear heels. So I don't, and then because it's socially not accepted for men to wear heels, they don't. But if they do want to be taller, so like some people, if they care about that so much, they would do take measures to be taller. And there's like surgeries that you can be taller now, right?
Oh, it was just
Yeah.
insane. Yeah.
Like you
It's
break the
crazy.
femur, you put the rod in it, and then
Yeah.
the bone just like
It's
grows. It's
crazy.
yeah.
Oh,
So
first of all, probably gotta have crazy money for that, but yeah.
yeah, and also like eh, we can. I'm just sticking with the heels thing because I think that's a really good example.
It is.
Um, but like heels, you say it was associated with class and the stuff back in the day, right? But you got to also think back in the day, heels were not mass produced with cheap labor that's available across the world. Every person in America today is able to buy heels.
Facts.
Anybody. Whereas back in the day, it's like it makes
Mhm.
sense that it's like tied to class, because only the wealthier people were able to, think about, I was like, I need to look good. Okay, let's design this thing. Whereas the common people were like,
Yeah.
dude, they didn't care what they were wearing. Like they were trying to feed their family for tomorrow. Like we don't really have those issues today. So yeah, I don't think there. I just don't truly believe there's just too much meaning behind certain things shifting, and
Mm.
I don't know. I'm
You
trying
just
to
think it just
wrap up
shit,
my thoughts.
and that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
because I agree with you, but my thing is like, why did it shit? Like, but you kind of just answered that. The mass
like
production made it not exclusive anymore. So
yeah, like the intent and
you're
availability
onto something.
changed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
That's a good one. And sticking on the theme of the heels is funny because now that heels aren't exclusive, you get like a type of heels that are exclusive. You know what red bottoms are?
Yeah, like I heard rappers talking
Yeah.
about it all the time. It's like nicer, it's
Yeah.
more expensive like shoes, right? It has
It's
the
a
red
heel where
bottoms.
the bottom of it is literally red, but
Yeah.
it's that designer. It's like that designer's thing, like Christian Louboutin.
Oh, okay.
Um, it's like the bottoms are red. So it's like now heels aren't, exclusive, but like this heel, this brand is like, oh, like you got
Oh,
money.
really?
I mean, they're expensive as heck. So like if you have them, right, it's a status symbol. But so again, that's just kind of like that evolution thing. That I think, yeah, forces stuff to change, or like you said it really well. I think the mass production on that one. Okay, so I'm trying to think of another example, which is like a physical thing, like skirts or dresses, right? And this one you see across different societies. So this is another thing, geographically plays a thing too, because like Romans had like the togas where you wear, where college
Mhm.
people still do like the toga parties, right? Scottish kilts, which are still a thing, like the people that play the bagpipes, like it's traditional wear that the kilt, or like a samurai type robe. Those are all things that were, men could wear, and it was not thought about. It was not associated to a thing, where now it's like skirts or kilts or a toga style, something that wraps around your body that has a lot of skin exposure is associated with women. And I think kilts actually are still, I think that's a very traditional thing for like for Scottish.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure. But some of the other things, like dresses, even kind of like I was talking about the British, the aristocrats, they wore kind of like gowns and stuff. And it shifted at some point. I think it's like the 19th to 20th century. Like it shifted, and I don't know why. Like it was just fashion.
Yeah, I think it's just a cultural trend that kind of stuck.
Just yeah. But I don't know. It's fascinating. But it's to bring it full circle, like today's day and age. It just makes it interesting because if one of us were to wear that out now for no reason, no special holiday, just on a Tuesday, and you get like I'm in a toga, you're in a kilt, we would probably get looks, if not comments. And it's like, why? Oh, just because society grew away from, you know what I mean? There's no like tangible reason why that, I guess, should be weird, but it is
Yeah.
weird.
It is because of the human biology to spot out like a weird person. I think we all have in our DNA like for human survival, you kind of have to like spot out the weird people, right? And so
Sure.
by dressing this way in today's culture, you can be put in the bucket of being weird. And I think that's a very regular thing. Like being weird today is not good or bad at all. back in the day, that means like you got kicked out of your clan, you got kicked out of your community,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
and your life was over pretty much. So
yeah.
yeah, I think that's just I know what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to for us to label something weird or not weird according to our cultural like standards, I guess.
Okay. Okay. Do you think weird carries a negative connotation?
Weird does carry a negative connotation. If yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Because I always try to say, I don't know if I ever said this. I try not to use the word weird because I'm a fan of things being different. Like I'm like anti-weird, but
the unique.
so yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I applaud, I advocate for people doing stuff different, but I would be lying if I said I saw somebody walk down like my street where I live with a toga or kilt. If in my head, I wouldn't treat them any different or anything, but I'd be like, like I wonder where they're going or like why they're in that. I would have that thought.
yeah,
But I think in like high fashion these days, like when you see I don't know, like the Met Gala or just whatever, like outfits get very crazy, very eccentric, very unique, or very weird, which I think is cool that like high fashion is embracing all these like eccentric concepts because again, I think it like it's a at the end of the day, like it's just a like a kilt. It's just a piece of clothing like anything else. But yes, society has grown to say, this is one, this is the other. One more before we can like shift gears that I think is kind of funny is the I've never been in one, but like the gender reveals, like blue boy, pink
yeah, yeah,
girl.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
where did that come from? Like a literal color association with a gender. I don't think that has any biological roots, any. I feel like a company just made that up one day and like it just went, you know what I mean? That one I truly think is like yeah, what is that? What does that associate with? Apparently pink was also originally associated with like men, but I couldn't find any like strong reasons why.
Yeah, I just typed it in. Let's see what comes up.
I know marketing definitely took the pink for girls around with like Barbie pink like that, but and I also know like on that topic, I know parents that like try not to, they try not to have their kids fall into like pink is for girls and blue is for boys. They just like I literally saw somebody give somebody a toy and be like, "Oh, I got you this blue one because it was a boy," and the parent like stepped in and was like, "Hey, we don't like you don't need to point out that it's blue. Like just give them the toy," because they don't want them to get that association. That is pretty arbitrary to be honest. Like it's again, where did that come from? I don't know. Maybe it did come from somewhere or not, but I just don't know where that came from.
Okay,
I don't know. Did you find anything?
I just typed it in on ChatGPT, and I think it is just a cultural thing because
Yeah.
before 1900s, it was just all white. If you're like, all genders,
Mm,
just white. I think that makes
yep.
sense. Just whatever that works.
Yeah.
And in the early 1900s, some fashion guides like recommended colors for certain genders, right? And they recommended pink for boys and blue for girls because pink was seen
Mm,
as a stronger, more passionate color, which is fitting for boys, and blue was considered delicate and suitable for girls, especially linked to the
interesting.
Virgin Mary in the Christian pictures and art and stuff like things like that. And it wasn't until around the 1940s where the culture just shifted, and then pink became for girls and blue became for boys. So again, I think it's
Fascinating.
just like whatever is trending with the culture, and I think like we just only associate the time that we have been alive as blue for boys, pink for girls. But again, I don't think there's any meaning behind like why it matters for genders. It just, it could be red for, boys tomorrow and yellow for girls in 100 years. We
Yeah.
never know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I think it just to get to the core of it, it interests me like what drives that. But I think you said like the person that shifted it from white into two different colors, blue and pink, was probably trying to make a dollar, like
Mhm.
marketing or capitalism. which honestly probably drives a lot of these things now. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting stuff. I know a big one that came up, as just a thought I had in one of my group chats recently was like, have you noticed like a lot of guys are starting to paint their nails?
I have not. I have not noticed.
You've not seen like celebrities are doing it too? Like Drake does it.
I
That's good, bro. You're probably paying it. That means it's good. You're probably not falling into like pointless social media. That's good that you didn't know that. It is a thing, and it's actually I can't even say that. Yeah, it's like a lot of it. It's very trendy now for guys to paint their nails,
Yeah.
which
Okay, that
again
makes sense.
is yeah.
It
It's funny
just
like talking to my mom about it, who has a more traditional mindset. Like hearing her thoughts on it are fun. Like she's super against it, and really doesn't matter. But I mean, we've been very conditioned to think like that's a thing that women do, and they're
yeah.
not like getting the long ones or anything. They're just like painting designs on their nails. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Because I'm
Hmm.
into what's the like if you go to get your feet
Yeah.
done,
Get
is
a
it called
manicure. Get
manic or
pedicure
pedicure?
for feet.
Pedicure? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like they painted like a clear coat on my
No, bro. I'm
toes.
talking colors and
Yeah,
designs.
okay.
Yeah. I think that which is interesting because that what you just named falls outside of the scope of feminine. That is very common and very like just a good hygienic thing to do amongst men is to get a manicure and to get a pedicure where they finish with a clear coat that really just makes your nails shiny.
Okay, okay.
But this is like colors and designs. And again, like I said, some people I can think of off the top of my head that do it like Drake does it. Dwayne Wade, the basketball player, like he does it. I don't know. That's a bunch of people. And people will be like, just like anything else, online, saying whatever they gotta say. And it's just a trend that's catching, and again, it doesn't to me doesn't really matter, but it is something that is associated with females. So I was gonna see if you like had any like thoughts on that because it's something like more relevant.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I could say I could see that happening. Like someone of a higher status comes up with something, and because
mhm.
we people look up to those people, like they're like, oh, like if he's doing it, it must be cool thing to do, and it's just like anything in human society. Like someone starts it, and then someone else follows and becomes like a trend or like a
Yeah,
cult or like a big group or
yeah,
some kind of group thing. I mean, it just humans are such a social creature, and we have to be for the way that we lived, right? So
yeah.
I just I see, previously it's only weird because previous culture stated that something belongs into some group, but like
Exactly.
again, like I don't think there's any links between them actually being a male or female, and like I said, with culture it just changes randomly, I think.
Right. Okay. And so I have a question stemming from that, right? Like based on previous episodes we did and just knowing you, would you say you're pro gender roles?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
for, okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But would you say that, not pro, but are you pro categorizing certain things like this? Like heels should be for women, dresses women, nails women, like, because I think that's separate from gender roles, but are you also pro that for that separation of just things
I, I
or not
am
necessarily?
I am
Okay.
I am pro separation of things because it's hold on, give me a minute to think before I say something.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's so I think they're different, but I wanted to see if you were pro both.
It just like it's just a way of categorizing things. And
Mhm.
I wouldn't I want to know what the categories are just so that I don't seem like an outcast. Right? Like I
Huh.
want to like I want to express myself as someone that like still tries to dress well, still looks good physically, can have a thoughtful conversation about a lot of different topics by reading a lot of books. And because of those things, I think it's beneficial for me to know whether this is weird, this is not weird, this is good for me, this is bad for me, type of thing.
Okay.
So I think that's my reasoning for it. That's why I think we should
Okay.
have categories of certain things. And not that it's right or wrong. If tomorrow they say, hey, heels are for guys now, I'm like, okay, cool. I just want to make sure that I
Yeah.
know that.
What if they're for both? Like,
Okay, it's for both. Sure. It's like t-shirts are for
okay.
both. I come to
Right,
accept
right,
that, and
right.
I don't really care who it's for. It's,
Okay.
it's just the way it is.
No, that's good. I think I don't. So I guess I would be anti-categories only because kind of what we just. I don't think not everything, but a lot of these things, the things that we at least mentioned thus far, I don't think they need categories. I don't think certain things need categories. Whereas I hear what you're saying. You want to know what the category is, so you know kind of like where to fit. But if there was no categories, that's just one less thing you have to worry about. You wouldn't have to worry about where you fit because there'd be no category. It'd be like everybody could paint their nails or not paint their nails. Everybody could wear a dress or not wear a dress. Everybody could, you know what I mean? So that's where I think I would just say like, let's not put it in either one. It's like, just uncategorize it. But if that makes sense, does that kind of
It
make sense?
does make sense. I just don't agree with it. I think we should be putting
Yeah.
labels on the things, because if you don't, like, let's play out your scenario. Say, hey, no, there's no
Yeah.
category for anything.
Yeah.
That kind of,
That's what I'm saying. Not anything, just some of the things. Some things could have categories. I think we
okay.
over categorize is what I'm saying.
I think we do over categorize, yes, but I don't think it's needed to be. It's like, it just you're saying that you don't need it, like, you don't need to categorize it, but in today we don't need to categorize it. What you're saying is what happens today. It's just that some people would like to categorize it for context clues on how to live as a
Yeah.
like a citizen. This is so
How to fit
overarching,
in.
but like as a citizen in a society.
Yeah. Well, I think no, I think things are categorized, and I think they don't need to be. Like we as a society are use too many labels and too many categories. I think that just overcomplicates things. I think that's the best way that I'm trying to say it, because it's like if everybody can do it, nobody's an outcast if you do it. You know what I mean? You'd have less, as we said earlier, quote unquote, with air quotes, weird people, because if it's accepted for everybody, then you're not weird if you do it or don't do it. It's just like, okay, I choose to do it.
But
That's why I think that.
when you let go of some, like, let's say the standard, let's say, I don't want to say need or not need, because we don't need to
Mhm.
categorize something. People just do it. It's not a need. But let's say today's culture has a standard of categorizing things, right? And I think when you blur
Okay.
that line with, you say, oh, some things don't, some things do. I think those lines get blurred so often when you kind of let go of the pedal in one direction. And if that becomes the case, certain things, I feel like over time, right? Like certain activities that's
Mhm.
actually bad. Like some things are bad to do. Like
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I would not be carrying a knife, holding it in my hand, walking up to people. Right? That is a weird behavior, because that could, it's just a
Yes. Okay.
weird behavior. So
Hmm.
because of those things, we need to categorize, this is good, this is bad, just to show, like, it's just human nature to I guess, like, it's a
Categorize.
reality. It's just reality, right? It,
It is
so
reality. Yeah.
so it's, I wouldn't say it's bad. I see what you're saying, that like today it might be, the standard is way too high to categorize everything, but I think it's better to stay that way than not categorizing anything. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Once you
It's
let go of something like that, it's like the line just gets too
you think
blurred with other fields that just do not need to
okay.
be messed with.
Okay.
It could be
I
like
wasn't understanding you. But now I think, okay. So you're saying if you let some things have no category, everything's going to migrate to not having a category?
Mhm.
Interesting.
Migrate to not having a category. Wait, say that again?
Like, I'm proposing that some things should not have a category, but you're saying, reality today is that most things are like categorized. And you're
Mhm.
saying that if, let some things not have a category, it could just belong to anybody. And I'm talking about strictly in the confines of masculine and feminine, not like good versus bad or ethical versus non-ethical. But you're saying if some things don't have category unless like it's acceptable for anybody, then other things that need to be categorized will start shifting to not having a category. And that's when, the
Yes,
lines will get
yes,
blurred, right? So you're
yes.
just saying everything should be categorized. That way we just maintain, like everything may not need to be categorized, but it should be just to almost like maintain order, maybe? Is that what you're?
Yeah, some things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, ultimately, that's like so far
Okay.
down the line, but that's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting
yeah.
at. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I believe in humanity too much, but I think it would be nice to, yeah, I don't know if that'd be trusting society too much, but like certain things just don't matter if it's masculine or feminine. And it'd be nice to, you very well may be right. We don't know because we'd have to, go through time and see how it manifests to see.
Mhm.
Um, we can only predict using the past, but yeah, I would like to think certain things don't have categories. But to take this kind of same concept, and we've been talking about tangible things and shift it. I wanna look at some personal traits of people that are typically deemed masculine or
Mhm.
feminine, and then I want to circle back to the same question on like should they be categorized? But we can get to that at the end. So um, there are so many. Okay, a obvious one I think we'll start with when you hear the term nurturing. Do you think masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
I agree. And this one I think does have some biological roots, which is why I
Mhm.
wanted to start with this one because women give birth. By virtue of giving birth, I think there's something innate with them that like I produce this living being and I have to literally have to take care of it in order for it to like grow life, right? Like they breastfeed and there's a I don't know if it's like pheromonal, but like a literal connection with the mother and the child
Yeah.
that men certain things men just can't biologically provide, right? I think we can all agree on that. So that one is one that I think is assigned to women, but it's almost justifiable, I'll say.
Yeah. I
But
agree with you.
but my thing is, if a guy is nurturing, he can be looked at as weird, and it's like, why? I'm gonna read you a definition I have pulled up for nurturing. It says caring for and encouraging the growth or development of others. Who? Why would you not want somebody to be caring for or encouraging the growth? That's a purely positive thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's where it gets
Yeah.
weird to me. I get why women are more nurturing, but I don't get why men shouldn't aspire to be nurturing or why it's like looked down upon for men to be nurturing. That's where I don't get. And I
Yeah,
want to hear your
that's
thoughts.
I understand why. What do I understand? I don't know what I understand. Um why is it bad to be nurturing? I don't think it's bad to be nurturing, but you do get looked at by females in this case of maybe you are
Mhm.
a less of a masculine person, and maybe that may lead to like decrease in attractiveness for that person.
Mhm.
Uh and that's a biological thing, I feel like. So I think that's why
Mm.
I think that's why, I don't want to say ultimately, but we have a crazy biological drive to reproduce. It's kind of what we were like meant to do, right? Like it's just a
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
natural. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm over explaining to you because I know you're gonna agree. Some people don't, which is just super weird. But anyway,
No. It's yeah.
I know what you're saying. It's not bad to be nurturing, but it's bad in a sense that you may, in like more of like a human sense, like you might decrease your chances of producing an offspring. And I
Mm.
do believe that is a bad thing.
Bro, you just made some things connect to me I don't think I've ever connected before, and I actually think you're onto something. So like, women are innately more nurturing. We agreed on that. I don't know if that's the causation or if it's just correlated, but maybe because they're more nurturing, they look for men that, I'm not gonna say aren't nurturing, but they correlate, like you said, a nurturing man to less desirable. Therefore, a nurturing man equates to like, oh, you're soft or like less desirable, which is why. But like you said, that whole chain that we just narrated is biological. Like women are biological nurturing, and they are biologically attracted to men that are less nurturing. Or maybe it might be a threat. Like if a man is more nurturing than a woman, they might feel threatened because they're supposed to be more nurturing. So like again, they wouldn't want that.
I'm gonna go one step further to just make it super easy on the example, right? Because nurture is just one particular aspect of it. But at the end of the day, this is what it comes to. Let's say, like, I have a wife, you have a girlfriend. Let's say their looks didn't change at all, right? It's just the same exact person that you wake up tomorrow.
Yep.
And the personality just became a man's personality inside of them. Would that be attractive to you?
No, it would not.
It would. It's just, and I don't think we need to explain too much on why. It just, we know inside our soul, inside our DNA, inside of the neutrons firing in her brain, that we just don't find that attractive. And it just some scale of that, like, because there are traditional traits related and correlated to being masculine. Therefore, if you lack that trait, or if you show a trait on the polar opposite end of that, like, you just, like, they don't find it attractive. I don't think you need a scientific reason, and this is kind of gets weird because a lot of stuff like this are talked about in the Bible, which I'm not pulling it from the Bible. I just kind of like still believe this outside of religion. But I think it's just like one of the most beautiful things for like a man and a woman to get together in a marriage to like form one person, one unit. And women and men are supposed to be different. And if I'm weak in a spot where, let's say I'm like the most average male that you can possibly think of, I'm the man, like I am a man, no female components. I'm going to lack in certain stuff. Like women are known to be better project managers than men. It's just biology, dude. So if there's things like that, I can't breastfeed. Therefore, instead of we're trying to that's why I don't seek men. I seek women to cover the weak spots to form like a one strong unit to care, to produce offspring. That's, I think there's like a level of moral duty. I feel like, I'm not saying it's wrong not to I'm not saying it's wrong to not have kids. Yeah, I am saying it's not wrong to not have kids.
Okay.
But if you have the luxury and ability to do so, like, I think it's a right thing to do. It's a better thing to do than not. I guess that's right. Because if we don't, we got to take the extreme ends of it. If we overproduce, overpopulate crazy amount, I think that's okay. Like, wars happen, famines happen, disasters, like people die off naturally. And then we have such a crazy technological advancement that I feel like we'll be able to feed the people. Whereas, so let's extreme case 1. Extreme case 2, you don't populate. And there's not too much conversation after that. Just we die as a species. And I don't know if we want that, right? I'm diving it like a little higher, but I think it's, for me, it's easier to understand on like a macro level versus, like a aspect of something, and it's,
which is good.
It's just helping me understand.
I think I'm picking out the aspects. Man, you said some stuff. Okay. So I don't know if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever been one to believe in opposites attract, but do you believe that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Such a vague concept, but okay.
Yeah, but
I
what's
ebb
weird,
and flow if I believe that, but if I had to pick a side, I think I would say opposites attract. But
wait, Okay. What's like stopping you from like going all in on believing that idea?
I mean, I don't. It's just it's vague, right? Like I can look at my partner right now and be like, "Oh, we're so similar in so many ways," but like, I mean, still fundamentally we're opposite. Like gender wise, we're opposite. I mean, there's a bunch of visual differences looking at us, and then I mean, there's some character traits too. But we are very much alike. So it's like
Well,
I
alike
can
in like personality aspects, right?
right,
But the
yeah, yeah,
difference is opposites attract on like more of like a physicality piece to start. Like men are attracted to women, women are
right,
attracted to men. I think that's the easiest level to get
yeah,
started. But in a
sure,
relationship, you want skill sets to be opposites attract. But you don't, outside of skill sets and physical characteristics, like you don't really need to be opposites attract. Like
right.
actually, you want
So
similarities to attach. Like you want to agree on the
right, right,
big
right.
things about the marriage. So I think you're there. I think it's just the wording. I think you're
Yeah,
looping
it's
in
like
additional
semantics,
things. Yeah, yes, yeah, exactly.
maybe.
Just how we, I may perceive it different. Where we all mean the same thing.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going on.
that may be very, very possible. I want to go back to you said something. Oh, you were like, it's this undescribable feeling that attracts me if my partner woke up and was just had like male dominated traits, would I be less attracted to her? And I said yes. Counter to that, there are a bunch of traits that are associated with males that or are assigned to males. If you had to pick one that she either has or I would want her to have, or if she had more of, I wouldn't be mad. Which is why I said a spectrum, because she can move towards masculinity, but still not be masculine.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and we started early on with making money, right? Like and this is probably a bad example just because it's 2025, but like that is associated with males being the breadwinner, historically, traditionally, whatever. But it's like, do I want her to not make money? Hell no. Like, go get the check. Like you can make, you know what I mean? So that's just the first thing that go to mind. I'm trying to think of other
So
traits.
it's not a I don't think that's the right question to ask whether you want your partner to make money or not. Like obviously I would think 99.99%,
Right.
100% with rounding error
Yeah.
to agree with you. But the more of the question should be role for your partner, right? As a female. If you could choose one in theory to determine which one's better, you can obviously do both, but I'm just trying to see which one is better.
hmm
And for you as the decision maker, let's say in the scenario, you have to choose between your partner going to get that check for, I don't know, until you retire, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Or would you rather have them not get the check and be a mother of three? If you had to
I would
choose
have to get the
one,
check. What if I'm not trying to work, dog?
I mean, yeah, maybe. Yes,
No.
I think everyone,
I would pick me. I would
yeah.
pick me.
So
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
I think that's a very important conversation that I don't think is getting acknowledged. It's very misunderstood in how people talk about it today.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I don't know how people still mess it up, but it's very, very evident in the data that more and more unmarried females are becoming more sad. And the indicators for being sad is, suicide rates, uh, how the trend of people taking antidepressant pills, binge drinking, drug use. I think that would
Mhm.
be a pretty good statistic to use for, just correlated to how a person feels, happy or sad. And why is it that compared to 100 years ago, women have so much more freedom, more choice? Like, why is it that they're just so much more unhappy? And
Idle pressure.
I think it's because societal pressure that we're putting so much pressure on females. I mean, like, hey, you need to go to college. You need to go get amazing career, just like how they
Interesting.
would tell the males, right?
Mhm.
So now you're blending the two roles together. And I'm not saying
Mm.
females cannot go to like people will literally take that as, oh, so you're saying like females shouldn't work. Not even close to what I said, right?
Yeah.
It's whether they work or not. I think or I believe data suggests that females are more happier being a mother than a corporate female, corporate woman, a career woman. So I just for those reasons, like I just think those are one of the reasons why I think these gender roles, masculinity, femininity, like these kind of conversation puts additional pressures where it's not needed, right? Like a lot of people that have choose career and then they choose to have a baby later. Maybe they're invested in their career, like they just cannot spend as much time with their kid, right? And then now the kid's gonna have this issue here, there, that issue over there, because the parenting wasn't there at an early age when it's most critical. So I don't necessarily think of whether it benefits the female or not, or rather male or not. I don't think about it like that. I think about it is, how can we benefit society? How can we benefit the entire world? And we
Yeah.
got, and like it leads, a lot of the roads end up to the conversation of children, because they are the future
The
generation. They are the
literal
next
future.
people that's gonna decide what happens in the world. So yeah, my little rant on a lot of my thoughts.
Yeah. I appreciate that, dude. Again, being very vulnerable, which I appreciate. Yeah, I feel like we're a little bit blurring the line, but I mean, they're they are connected, gender roles and masculinity and femininity. Do you think it's possible for a female to be too feminine or a man to be too masculine?
No.
I'm trying to even think about what masculine would look like. All right, I'm gonna name. I want to get back to that, but I'm gonna name. I literally just googled like 10 traits that are associated with females, and I'm gonna name them, and instead of like dissecting one by one, kind of group them and talk about it, because I think these are great things for just anybody to have. Now, some of these I do think are more prevalent naturally in women, like you brought up that biology piece of it, but like again, what I'm really getting at is I think society. I'm not disagreeing that they're natural in women, but I think on top of them being natural in women, society will like look down on men that possess these traits, or again, vice versa for traits for men that women possess. But again, these are I just happen to do. I typed in what are 10 emotional traits that are associated with femininity? They are associated with femininity, and here's what I got: empathy, emotional intelligence, nurturing, vulnerability, cooperation, compassion, patience, intuition, gentleness, expressiveness. Like, I would, from what I've observed, I would probably agree that if I had to pick one of those, most of those are associated with feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Some more strongly than others, right? But I would say that, with the exception of maybe like two of these are all traits that I would want to possess. Like, that I either do possess or would want to possess, right? And so going back to the question, is there such thing as being too masculine? Would hyper masculinity, or again being too masculine, look like not having these feminine traits? Like if you're on the extreme of masculine, and this is me literally asking, like, I don't know, you said there's no such thing as being too masculine, so therefore I'm trying to define what too masculine would look like to see.
Mm-hmm.
I guess being too masculine would be the lack of feminine traits. And if these are feminine traits, I think you could be too masculine. I'm developing an opinion as we talk, by the way. Like, I think somebody that is without some bit of these traits, that's not a good thing, in my opinion.
Oh, you're saying too
I know I just
masculine
said a
as in
lot.
like a negative sense?
Yes, like
Oh, I
yes,
see.
yes, yeah. Or could you be like, yes? Could you be too masculine to a detriment, or too feminine to a detriment, to the point where it's like bad? As a male, like, could a male be too
Yeah, I mean,
masculine
I
to a
think
detriment, and could a
anything
female be too
extreme isn't
feminine?
good.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
I,
Yeah.
I think
Which,
like
which again is why I think it's a spectrum. I think there needs to be a balance. All men, in my opinion, should have some femininity, and all females should have some masculinity. Honestly, let me look up the definition of femininity and masculinity. Mm. See, this is good. Should have did this at the beginning. Masculinity is a set of socially constructed attributes, behaviors, and roles associated with men, boys, varying across cultures and time periods.
mhm,
That puts so much into perspective. And I mean, I think that's like basically kind of what we've been saying.
mhm.
But
Yeah, it makes
yeah,
sense.
and then that was the first sentence, but it goes on to say it is distinct. It is distinct from biological. Okay, yeah, it is distinct from biological sex and encompasses traits like strength, courage, independence, assertiveness. However, traditional notions of masculinity can be restrictive and harmful, leading to concepts like hegemonic masculinity and gender role conflict. That was like a whole little write up. That was like more than just a definition, but that's like the Google AI overview. I typed in define masculinity.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, I got to read that first sentence again. Masculinity is a set of socially constructed attributes, behaviors, and roles associated with men, boys, varying across cultures and time periods. So, with that, masculinity absolutely can shift. As we said, it clearly has, and like you said, in 100 years from now, red could be for boys
Yeah.
and yellow could be for girls. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I feel like as I get older, the more I realize, the more things are just social constructs.
Oh, yeah, pretty much everything is.
Pretty much
Yeah, like
and
every
literally
yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
which makes sense, but you never really step back and like actually think that like to include time, like that we pretty much made that up, which is kind of crazy.
Well,
But
time is real.
the passage of, I mean, times are made up. Sure, yeah. I guess just how we measure it or how we socially reference it.
Oh, yeah, like the unit of measure is made up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but but it's like saying math is made up. I guess math is
right. But
made up,
we
but it's
use it
like
to,
one plus
But
one
we
is
use it to,
just two. It's just
right,
universal law. So I
right.
see what you're saying. But yeah, no, I agree. I think everything in our culture is pretty much made up, and just whatever the culture majority of people, like, not, I don't say majority of people, the people with the most influence say kind of goes. And just,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think just the way it is.
I guess so.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah, I guess so.
do you think um like having gender roles, like you said, do you agree with it or not? Which I do. Do you agree with it? And then do you think that it's a problem to expect gender roles within a relationship?
First question, do I agree with gender roles?
Let's say, to be more particular, let's say a serious dating or marriage.
Agree with, like, debatable if I agree with them. If I think, what was the second question? They're needed?
No,
What?
do you think it's good for the relationship to
Oh,
have gender roles or not good for them? Detrimental or not?
so I think it's, I guess good, but I think it's good because I think it's good to have roles. I don't think you need gender roles, if that makes sense. Like, I think it's good to have assigned who's doing what's the expectation of both people. I don't think those roles need to be associated with gender outside of things pertaining to motherhood. That's the exception. But like, if the guy is the one, like when we get in this relationship and we learn, hey babe, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays you're gonna cook, or like you're gonna do most of the cooking. I have these things at this time. I'm not gonna be the one to cook. That cooking person could be the guy. But again, traditionally, it's not correlated to the gender. So I don't think they're bad though. I don't think gender roles are bad. I just think roles are important. I think gender roles aren't important or unimportant. They're just whatever works. But I think the gender is kind of irrelevant. I agree with the roles though. I think roles are beneficial to a relationship.
Oh man. Okay. I agree with what you said about, cooking can be the guy or the girl, which you're just basically saying, which you said, it's just good to have roles and it's just dependent on the
Yeah.
relationship, right?
Yes. I think I know what you're about to say too. I kind of want to caveat what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay. I just think outside of motherhood, it's generally good to have gender roles. And I say generally good as you don't need it. You do not need gender roles to have a
Yeah,
successful
yeah, yeah, yeah.
relationship, but it's when you have law and order, a structure laid out in place, a template that's already laid out for you on the expectations of what men and women do. I just think it complements the relationship in a good way. Like, for example, generally speaking, because men are like bigger, stronger, more endurance, it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
always led to the breadwinner tasks of today it's making money, but back in the day was securing food and protecting you from
Right,
outside dangers. And
right.
men typically possessing higher leadership skills than women. Not to say that women can't be leaders, in just a general sense, men have stronger leadership skills with everything being equal. So I think it is good to have like a gender role assigned to a man to be a leader because as a template, only one person needs to be a leader. You can't have two leaders. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
conflict.
yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
good. So that's why I do believe it is beneficial to have roles and those roles to be typically assigned to a gender.
Okay. Yes. And honestly, so if it's I think you're very utilitarian, like which is logical, right? Like if you
I
want to
very much
maximize
so.
everything, the person who has the strongest attribute in that category should be that. So like, yeah, if by a lot like over time, typically I think statistically men, like you said, are breadwinners. So they'll I guess, bring the money home and stuff. What again, and I can think we could think of plenty of examples where the trait is more dominant in the women typically, so they should do that. And there's a trait more dominant in men, so they should do that. Hence gender roles. Like that is like what gender roles is.
Mhm.
That's why the role is for that gender. So I get that. I get that. Like logically, I guess on average that would make more sense. Maybe I'm just again like the anti-categories, or and I think you'll agree with this too. It's really and you're not saying both senses can exist. It's really like per the relationship, right? Like who's ever better at what should take lead. But again, we can only speak on averages, so hence why gender roles would make sense. I guess with that, do you think gender roles as we get into the future are going to be more important, same like importance, or less importance? And I'll say I hear what you're saying. I guess I think we're trending to them being less important only because like the ways in which you can make money now are growing more varied. And I don't mean with AI, like labor displacement, who knows what that'll look like, but like for all these mental jobs or like cerebral jobs, like very thinking intensive, like I don't know that that's associated with the gender or anybody can do that. Maybe there's less labor jobs. But then again, if AI is taking over all the thinking jobs and it goes back to more labor jobs, maybe there will be more men dominating the workforce. I don't know. So I just feel like society is shifting towards a more blended, or maybe this is just what I'm hoping it is. I don't know. But it's shifting towards a more blended society where like men can do more of the women stuff, women can do more of the men stuff. Therefore, I'm projecting that I think gender roles is less important than just having roles. Maybe I'm projecting. But I certainly hear what you're saying from like a utilitarian standpoint, like what objectively would be the best. Probably gender roles, but I I guess I just don't think like in a utopian, like sure, I don't know if personally like I need that or what. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you
Because
said
I'm literally trying to
you
think.
said a very important word in there. You said in a utopia, which is
Yeah,
hypothetical.
very much so.
And we are I would say we're the best country in the world. I think we have been every new day is a better day than the previous day. Like generally, not objectively. Um so with that being said, for me personally, I would think the emphasis on gender role becomes more important in the future because I agree with you. I think it's getting blended, and I don't think that's good for society. And
Mhm.
I care. Like you said, you hit. I'm exact. I mean, you know me too, Bill, right? Like we've known each other for
Yeah.
8 years now, but it
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yep.
I just want the best for not
Yes.
individuals, but for the
Right.
entire country as a
Right.
whole.
Right.
And I'm not thinking in the
Facts.
world space yet. I think there's so many issues that we have in
Country.
our country,
Mhm.
and it's trending the wrong way. It's not getting better in certain stuff.
Mhm.
And maybe it is. I could say it is kind of getting better because the things I'm saying is generally more aligned with a Republican points of view, like more
Mhm.
traditional values, and with a Republican president, Republican House, Republican Senate. I do think the world is, or not the world, the United States is going in a better direction. Like whereas if you think last year, like companies logos and were like the rainbow color to show LGBTQ stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't, and that it's not to say that I don't agree with LGBTQ. I don't really necessarily care that like what you
Yeah.
are, um, but the fact that those those ideologies prevent people from becoming the best of a society or a company or whatever organization because like they're focusing
Yeah.
on like the people side too much. Like let's just try to be the best. And I think by becoming the best, like world is gonna get better. And so I do think it is trending that way for now. But like I said, I agree with you. Over 30, 40, 50, 100,000 years, the line is getting blurred because of these technological advancements. Like women don't have to uh they can make money and maybe work from home, be with the
Yeah, yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Like they can do both. Uh
Yeah.
but as of right now, it's just not in a place where we can set that in place for majority of the people. Like I would say the people that get to have a career and be an amazing mother, family person,
Mhm.
like that's an exception, not the rule. So because of those reasons,
Yes.
I think it's more important to emphasize gender roles, to like put a structure in place to better the next generation. So that's my take, and I
Mhm.
know this is very controversial. A lot of people will
That
disagree, but it just, yeah. I mean that's why I do think it's so good. Like politics has two or three sides at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's just
yeah, got to.
regardless of
Yeah.
I think some views are just very dangerous, but then they also
Mhm.
think my views are also dangerous, right? So it's if one person has too much control, then and if they're wrong, it could be in a bad place.
It could
So
be bad. Yep, yep,
I
yep,
do
yep, yep.
appreciate how everything is set up. Just to say, yeah, I'm not,
True.
yeah,
Yeah, as you and a lot of people know, I'm not a very big political person. I do appreciate that system of checks and balances that you just articulated, though, and I mean for those reasons. And it is crazy. I think you hit on something good that I just want to highlight quickly. That I only realized when we pulled it to a macro perspective, like kind of step back like that. Like you said, you just want the best for the whole.
mm,
And hearing you speak, it's like I'm kind of thinking like I think I want the best for like the individuals, but it's like if I want the best for all the individuals, that's kind of saying like the same thing. I kind of another way of saying like you want the best for the whole. Because I don't
mm.
want the best for certain individuals. I want the best for all individuals. Like, but that's probably my problem. I just like want everybody to be happy, and you can't make everybody happy. So, um, i.e., you need the best for the whole. But whereas I think we're saying the same thing there in different ways.
Yeah, no,
Where I think it,
yeah,
yeah, where I think it differs is how we define what's the best. Like, is is because I agree. I think America's the best country, and but it's like, how do we define the best? I mean, we're getting into a complete different topic, which is why I want to keep it quick. But it's like, is it the best of like who has the most GDP or who has the most jobs, who has the least um unemployment rate, who has the most production, who has the most least suicides, there's just so many.
Yeah.
And I think when I would define, which is some of this is an unfiltered thought. Like I need to think on this, but I'm such an emotionally driven person. I feel like we are the best country statistically, but other countries have more of the population just feel at ease or like happy or just easygoing. But if you were to compare our GDP to them, we have higher GDP, we have higher employment rate. So I think what I define as better might be different, which that's something I have to sit with and maybe like develop a thought. That'd be a good like conversation.
Yeah, that's good.
Whereas like you know what I'm saying? I think you gauge it on like production and yeah, like if the I don't know. Not I know it's more in production. That's like the only thing I can think of. But yeah, and then to bring it full circle, it's like, how does the separation of masculinity and femininity aid in or detract from the overall best,
Mhm.
which we would have to define. But yeah, and I think that's like I don't know, just kind of like a full circle thought. Like, is is separating masculinity and femininity positive or not? Is our gender roles positive or not? Or those type of questions for the overall good of the whole. I don't know. I like I said, I think gender roles. I think I have. I mean, masculine and femininity. It's a social. It's kind of gonna go with the times. Like I said, gender roles. Yeah, I definitely don't think it's bad. I don't think they're bad. I think it's neutral at worst or good for
Okay,
sure.
I see what you're
But
saying.
just
Yeah.
for yeah, you know what I mean. I definitely don't think it's bad. But if it's forced, I think it could be bad. I guess that's what I was trying to say this whole time. Like, if there's a couple that wants to operate outside of gender roles, like sure, but to your point, just to have an identified structure, may help. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. I think that's where a
Yeah,
lot of people get tripped up because, like, when I say something or when these things are brought up and someone makes an
yeah,
argument, they take that as, oh, so
yeah.
no, like, no, that it's just like they're always trying to play gotchas. Like, oh, I gotcha there. But it's like, you just gotcha yourself because, like, you're just putting words in people's mouths, right? Um, but I just maybe let me know if you see any flaws in my thinking on how I approach these problems. Is like I done 2 times, and you kind of pointed out. I look at easy worst case scenarios on both ends, and let's say you're talking about if the scales of masculinity, the scales of being, having female traits, whatever, right? Let's say they were at the polar extremes for both genders. So if you're a guy, like you are 100% toxic male. And if you're a female, you are 100% toxic female. In that setting, I still think society will continue to grow and advance.
Mhm.
Let's flip everything. If you're a
Right. Yep.
guy, you are a toxic female. You act like that. And vice versa. If you're born a female, you go into like you're just a toxic male. I don't think in that case, I don't think that country or society would thrive and continue to advance.
Mm.
So I know we'll never be at those extremes, but then at least like that kind of tells me if one extreme is like still manageable and we still survive and continue to grow, whereas the other one is like just not going to completely work, I just generally tend to lean on that side of the argument. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I want to clarify some terms just because people like to pick at terms. I think hyper masculinity and femininity is different than toxic masculinity and femininity. So I think hyper masculinity and femininity fits what you were trying to say
Okay.
better. But yes, yeah. Crazy example, but like it articulates a point. I think you're right because if it was toxic, that implies that there's a harmfulness that I think maybe you can make a stronger argument for society wouldn't progress. But yeah, if you're hyper or like on the far ends of both, I think society would still move forward. Whereas if it's like inverted,
Because inverted would literally
that's
mean
just hard to fathom.
if it was completely inverted, like you got to realize we can't change the physical traits. So women will still
Yeah.
give birth, but
Yep.
you are
Yep.
expected as a man to stay home
Yeah.
and provide
Yeah.
from the like not
It would go
provide or
against
take. Yeah.
biology in
It
some
just
ways.
doesn't
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sense.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I agree. Yeah. This is why I love this too. And then this is also why I like this platform. I think we can talk about things that are, sometimes kind of contentious, sometimes that aren't, but like we actually hear each other out and we can have like whether we agree or not, which I think most time we agree, but it's always healthy and productive, which is a lot of times I think conversations aren't, and I wish the world could have more healthy and productive conversations with
Absolutely.
things that are opposing, or like our platform in general, like Rebel Wisdom. We talk about going against the grain, just in general, and it's hard for people to carry out those conversations. So,
Yeah.
dude, I just want to use this moment to say I appreciate you, dog.
Yeah, no, it's so much more relaxing. Like
Yeah.
I get defensive talking to you sometimes, and I don't know
Oh,
why.
dude, it's human. I do
I
too,
think
bro. But it's not
I
just
think
you.
it stems from like watching these debate videos, and like in those videos, someone just gets absolutely wrecked, and the other person just starts yelling because they know that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can't like prove anything, and then I'm just expecting that, but no, like obviously you're not gonna do that. So it's much more
yeah.
pleasant. I come in like tensed up, and I'm like, he would, yeah.
That's
You
one.
know,
That's one actually huge thing I value about our friendship is that we can explore some of these spaces without getting aggressive or walking away feeling like just off or weird. I always feel good. Yeah,
it's funny
and I
though.
learn stuff
I
too.
do realize like our views are so different, but in the when we start talking about it, we could be saying, this is red, and I say, no, you are crazy. This is blue. But then we kind of like layer back, and we're kind of saying the same thing. It just
Yeah,
the initial upfront statement with
yeah.
no context could be total
Mhm.
opposites, but the underlying message is actually pretty similar a lot of times. And yeah.
That's why we got to dig into it. Yeah,
Yeah,
heck
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, brother. I think we got to go one. That's I think that's it. That's a wrap up. That's the rebel take on masculinity versus femininity, kind of where it stems from, maybe where it's going, and just how we got to where we are in society. So we appreciate you joining. This will be a great one to hop in the comments. Let us know what you think. With that being said, catch you next week.